bada bee, bada boo, kabadee, kabadoo. The Minion, the review, let's go. What's not to love about this movie, guys? I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it, right? Let me start you off with a plot overview. Gru, we all know he wants to be a villain. So there's a group called the Villainous Six, and he wants to be part of it. So he applies, he goes in there, and then he gets rejected because, well, he's a kid. He doesn't get taken seriously. So, you know what he does? He then goes steals their prized possession, this medallion, this stone, if you will. And on his way, the medallion gets put into the hands of one of the minions. Unfortunately, as a minion does, he loses it, gets it again, and then trades it for a rock, which he fell in love with. And as you know, Gru is extremely impressed. No, he's not that impressed. No, he's extremely upset because that's his one ticket into the Villainous Six. That was his dream, you know? If you want to be a villain, that's what you gotta do. Naturally, he's like, well, you guys are worthless, and I can't do anything, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden he takes off. And naturally they want to get back at him, so you know what happens? He gets kidnapped. But not by the Villainous Six, no, that'd be too easy. He gets kidnapped by an ex-member of the Villainous Six, Wild Knuckles, the old guy. And now Wild Knuckles wants the exact same medallion, so they call up home and say, I want this medallion. The minions answer, bada bee, bada boo. He's like, I need this medallion in 2 days, blah, 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 boom. So naturally the minions go out, rush, trying to find everything, and they go back to the house to that kid who they sold that rock to, and then he gave it to his uncle, who's a badass riding a motorcycle, and then they split up. Well, kind of unintentionally. 3 of them go to San Francisco, and then one of them chases the guy with the medallion. A minion is chasing a guy on a Harley Davidson on a tricycle. Like, imagine going that fast, like halfway across America. But anyway, he manages to do it because cartoon logic. They arrive to San Francisco and then they fight the henchmen, right, of Mr. Wild Knuckles, right, because he's got henchmen. They camouflage in and then they get into this fight. Minions naturally lose, but then some kung fu lady comes in to the rescue, you know, smashes those henchmen, causing those henchmen to want to retire from Wild Knuckles. We'll get to that later. But then the minions go on a quest. They want to save Gru. So you know what? They learn kung fu. Yes, it rhymes. We cut to, okay, the henchmen, and they're basically retiring. They're quitting because they're like, nah, stuff this. We don't want to do it anymore. So anyways, that makes Wild Knuckles like, hey, you know what, Gru? I'm kind of lonely. I kind of need someone. So here you go, pack your things. You're helping around the house. And he's like, oh, okay. Then he jumps into his pool, which has got alligators, because you know what? He's a supervillain. And then Gru, Wild Knuckles kidnapped him. He could have just left him for the crocodiles. Nah. So what happens is Gru actually saves him, and then that just creates a whole mentor-student relationship. They continue on this quest, and then they start going to a bank, right? And they're gonna do their first heist together. The bank teller is actually the father of Vector, who you actually get to see in Despicable Me #1. When they go and complete a heist, which is really funny in itself, and then during that, the Nefarious Six want to get back. They find the house and they just destroy it. Then they get back home, and all of a sudden they see, oh my God, my house, what happened to my house? They see a picture of the Nefarious Six, which, you know, somehow answers the question, who destroyed my house? We cut to Gru leaving because, you know, Mr. Wild Knuckles has like given up on life. And then he goes, and on his way on the tram that he's on, he basically sees Otto. He goes and sees him, and he sees he's got the medallion. Beautiful. But then everyone shows up. Well, the Villainous Six shows up, uses the medallion, transforms into these magical, cool creatures, and transforms the minions into other animals. One gets transformed into a rabbit. One gets transformed into a goat. One gets transformed into a chicken. Then there's this whole fight sequence, and then the minions figure out, you know, the kung fu lesson they got taught. They learn to unleash the inner beast, which they do, and then they go full like karate chops on all the monsters. Bang, the bad guys get defeated, and Mr. Wild Knuckles dies. Oh, so we thought. So, you know, he gets wheeled off, gets put into prison, but then nah, you know, Mr. Wild Knuckles is smart. He knows what's going on. So he faked his death to get away from the cops, and then him and Gru reunite, and they drive off to the sunset to be more and more despicable, which leads on to Despicable Me 1 or could lead on to another Minions movie, which is a sequel to that, which is still a prequel to Despicable Me 1, if that's what they choose to do, because they've introduced Wild Knuckles as a character, and they could probably do a lot more in between that time of Gru growing up and Gru in Despicable Me 1, if they so choose to. Overall, look, it's a really good movie, guys. Something definitely I think you should watch. The good thing is, like, it appeals to children and adults, because the Minions, I mean, how can you not love those Minions? They're cute, they're funny, you can't understand what they're saying, but you have to try and interpret it. They do a good job in like communicating what they're trying to say in certain words in their own little Minion language. It's got a really great message. It's about loyalty, friendship, you know, between Gru and the Minions. The message is really about sticking to your tribe, you know, and your group. They're always going to be there for you. Gru without the Minions would not be able to accomplish what Gru ends up accomplishing in all the movies. Gru without the Minions is like bread without butter. It's like a cheese toastie without cheese. It's just plain. There's some scenes I really like that I thought would have mentioned. Gru actually shows the day that the Minions just showed up on his doorstep looking for a master, right? In order to make them more dramatic and to really convince him, right? They're like all cute. It's raining, you know, to give that dramatic effect. After we find out that one of the Minions was holding a hose in the sky and it was just causing the rain, and I was like, that's smart, you know. And the fact that like one of the Minions, I just found it hilariously how they exaggerated how fast a tricycle can really go. You're just going really fast, chasing after a Harley Davidson, you know, petrol-powered bike halfway across America. At the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I really enjoyed this movie. It was really funny. It was enjoyable. Should you see it? Yes. If you haven't already seen it, let me know what you thought of it. You know, if you're one of those people who was like, hey, I really didn't like the movie, then really tell me why, because I really can't understand your point of view. That's it from me, guys. I really enjoyed this movie. You should go watch it if you haven't. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video. All right, laters. I'm gonna go watch it again.